What is going on? Welcome to the first video on this brand new business YouTube channel. Just to be clear here, if you're a sales rep, this channel is not for you. Okay, I do a lot of coaching for sales reps. There's a separate YouTube for that. You can find it in the description. This is for if you are a business owner and you have a high ticket offer specifically. Now, just to give a quick one-time introduction on who I am and why you should listen to me, I was Iman Gadzhi's sales manager for around 2 years. I personally launched and scaled his 18K product, closed a little over $2 million with him whilst managing his entire sales team and coaching inside of all of his communities. I have scaled Ashton Hall's high ticket offer. I've also built and scaled a physical therapy-based high ticket offer for an influencer who has around 1 million followers. I took over a marketing agency that was doing 35K per month, and in less than 2 months took them to 121K per month. And I can keep going on and on and on. But ultimately, the goal with this series, video, channel, all of this stuff is to run you through the exact levers that I pull to ensure that a high ticket offer will scale. But a big part of this will be about bringing awareness to the typical things that I see that are basically bottlenecking your offer from scaling, and you have unknowingly placed obstacles within your business. So we'll be going through all of these different things so that you can open the taps to the true potential of your offer. Now, before we dive in and get tactical, if you are a high ticket offer owner and you are looking to have your offer scaled, there'll be a very simple form in the description there, nothing crazy. If you are interested, obviously it has to have the fundamentals in place already and have a proof of concept. You have to be doing at least around 100K per month minimum. Otherwise, I just wouldn't even consider working with you. So if you're not at that stage, keep grinding it out. And at some point, I would love to come in, place some A-player closers in your business and implement all of the things that we're going to discuss across these videos so that you can scale to the fucking moon. Let's dive into today's training. Okay, so let's dive in. I'm going to be taking you through a very tactical iPad training that I've built out. I'll also be going off on some kind of side rants. This is ultimately one of many things that I see absolutely cucking your offer from being able to scale to its true potential. So let's dive into the iPad. This is what I call business owner purgatory. All right, we'll highlight it in red just to get the point across. Now, this is kind of that middle ground, the eerie middle ground, let's call it, right? You are obviously no longer a startup, but you're also not operating like a true CEO of a scalable machine, okay? And this is really the perspective that I want you to look at this in, okay? Right? We've got the proof of concept, but yet you are still within this vicious cycle of being so hands-on with the client acquisition part, okay? If we think of, during my time working with Iman, he's not handling any of the client acquisition at all. You don't see him jump on a sales call, even for the 18K one, right? You don't see him dealing with conversations, none of that stuff, right? Now, maybe he'll be involved in the deliverables afterwards, but you shouldn't be a part, bar from being the individual that gets the eyeballs, right? Gets the pre-buy-in from your content. You shouldn't be the person that's so hands-on with this client acquisition portion, right? Now, on paper, typically these kind of offers, they're doing pretty well, somewhere around the range of 150 to even up to 350K months, right? Sometimes obviously below that. But the proof of concept is basically there. Like, okay, the offer works, it's decent. We get good results from the clients that we do have. You've got a small team that's kind of cranking along, but underneath the hood, right? If we lift up the hood of the car, chaos fucking reigns, okay? Now, I've seen this with some huge names in the space. It's crazy. You are still hopping on sales calls. Whether it's daily, i.e. you're basically still the fucking closer, which is wild, or you're having a bad month and you come in as the hero just to save the month, okay? You're babysitting your sales team, if you even have one in the first place, or you just don't trust them fully because they aren't converting like you, and you've got so much of a control freak nature, right? Then you're missing 6 figures a month in unrealized opportunity as a byproduct, right? You aren't in hell, but you are certainly not in heaven either. Now, you've put so much time, effort, love, and pride just into building this thing to where it's at now that you can't let go of the reins. And then as a result, you are destining yourself for a life of trying to always stay afloat, right? Your Instagram tells the story of a successful guy or girl, but no one would want your life. If you'd had some deep momentary introspection, you'd know that that's kind of the truth as well, right? Deep down, you don't want this life either. The vicious kind of like trying to be a part of everything. You're trying to run the team meetings, you're trying to take the sales calls, you're trying to deal with the deliverables, then you're getting complaints, and it's just wild, okay? It's crazy. It's not how an offer owner should operate. So why does this happen? You scaled the offer yourself through conviction, passion, and ultimately who is better to sell your own offer than yourself, right? You scaled through your sales instincts, not through systems, right? And then at certain point you said, okay, cool, let me do the logical thing. Time to pull back a little. I can't be closing these deals forever, right? Maybe you bring on a closer, maybe two, and then they didn't convert like you, right? The revenue dipped and you panicked and jumped back in. And now you are in this on-off loop riding the fucking sales roller coaster, right? That is you. And this is also you. This is okay. This is fine, right? Before you know it, you're micromanaging deals, you're jumping on last minute calls, you're running the team meetings, you're fixing client problems, you're trying to coach, you're trying to close, you're trying to lead, you're trying to survive, right? And I've seen it with some of the biggest names, genuinely. And you would just think, there's no way those people are going through it. But like, some of these people don't realize how much they're cucking the offer by being that kind of business owner, right? As the overwhelm builds, you then potentially go and do what the industry tells you to do, which is hire a sales manager. Now, this advice is going to be kind of polar opposite to, I guess, the typical advice that you would get in the industry. But this is actually based off of data and through what I have specifically seen running some of the largest high ticket offers in the space, okay? So you might get told, oh, just go and hire a sales manager, right? Handle that side. Now, it sounds like a smart move, but what I've seen here time and time again is that normal fucking advice leads to normal results, right? Most sales managers are trained to maintain, not build. They manage the status quo, right? They are not, however, the key towards you unlocking true scalability whilst reducing the overwhelm that you're going through, right? Maybe you're going to get some additional breathing room, right? And that's going to be relieving. But before long, you'll start to question, why isn't my offer scaling like I know it should be, okay? And then we get put back down to square one, and then we're questioning, is this sales manager bad? Should I take over again? Does he not know what he's doing? Is the sales reps the issue? What's the issue, okay? What you actually needed wasn't a manager. Not yet, okay? You needed a fucking architect. Someone who steps in, does the dirty work, builds the machine that you never had true time to actually create in terms of scalability, true team accountability, pitch optimization, right? Now, this is something I call the $1 million pitch, right? Offer positioning, KPIs, actual sales culture. Anyone that has ever been on any of the teams I've run knows that I create a monumental culture within a team. And when you've got a culture that is live or die and they will just fucking go to war for that offer, the results skyrocket ridiculously, okay? A leader in the space. What I've found is through proving myself, I've been able to have A-player closers that just want to work with me. They want to learn from me specifically, okay? Now, A-player sales reps, they're not just going to jump on a random offer that's doing 200K a month, right? You haven't earned that right yet. This is why I'm saying that for us first, it should be about pure scalability. Then we can place in a manager who's going to basically manage the status quo. They will still keep things good. You might continue to scale, but you won't have quantum leaps. We need someone to come in and rebuild that shit, right? You need to first scale the offer in a focused sprint and then bring a manager in, okay? Now, if you don't do this correctly, your business will plateau hard. Bleed margin through shitty conversions and inefficiencies, right? You're going to burn out team members, especially your closers, okay? And then you're going to be in this annoying thing where you've got shit retention of your team, which then tanks your reputation alongside just having a bad name in general for the offer that you're running, okay? You will bottleneck it and then start to settle. You start to settle, and I've seen this loads, you start to settle for the 300K a month when you know it could be 1 million plus per month, right? Staying in purgatory too long is going to turn winners into survivors. Now, I want to be clear. The escape towards all of this is not a new funnel. It's not a new offer. It's not taking a course on leadership, right? What you need is a focused sprint, a 90-day revenue transformation where your pitch is totally rebuilt based on proven concepts on offers that actually convert like fucking candy from a baby, okay? You need to overhaul your discovery process, and I mean fucking overhaul, okay? Every team that I've ever taken over is using blanketed, cookie cutter little word tracks and lines from people that are in the space. And I don't want to be on this channel, I don't want to be so polarizing and name drop people, but just these cliched, horrible cookie cutter word tracks that have been used 1,000 times on every single different little offer. What happens if nothing changes in 6 months? And we're having these weak, inauthentic conversations, which ultimately just leads to average conversions. Okay, so I mean absolutely overhauling your discovery process, okay? Price increase, fixing your show rates, installing real accountability, and then we can hire actual A players and train them properly, okay? What you don't realize, because we often try and overcomplicate this, is if you bring in the right person to just change these big domino effects, one pitch rewrite, a few sales team upgrades, right, in terms of show rate, in terms of the players within there, can create a 500K per month increased revenue bump without all of the complexities of optimizing your funnel and checking out ad budgets and all of this shit, right? That is not my focus when I come into a company. You've already got proof of concept, you're probably already running ads, or you've got good organic traffic. My focus is what are going to be the biggest things that will create a large domino effect, and that is going to be pitch, discovery, and the right players around with the right culture, okay? What does this allow for you as the business owner? You can go all fucking in on what actually scales lead flow, okay? Your content. We can start to actually put in the time to double down and bring in more eyeballs, right? You finally have the bandwidth because you've got systems and structure and the right people in place for you to be able to double down on the content, which means that your offer becomes insanely scalable, right? You can go hard on socials, host webinars, and that is when traffic doubles, which means lead flow doubles, which means revenue quantum leaps, right? You've been trying to scale by working in the machine when you were supposed to be building it. And that is always what you should be focused on as the offer owner. And that is things that's like someone like Iman gets amazingly well, and so many other offer owners do not get well. And that's the difference between a true business owner and more of just like a fleeting entrepreneur who's got the right intentions, but he's not executing in the right way, okay? You don't need more doers, you need future leaders, right? But no one can rise while you're still the bottleneck to every decision, right? Now, I have seen this with my own eyes countless times. Brand owners who have an audience that are devoted to them. They adore them, right? They might not even have a crazy following, but the following they do have is very qualified and very bought into them as a brand, right? They've built a brand that people trust. And I've seen this before as well. They even get people who will just DM them straight up to buy without ever even needing a call. Now, that isn't like I'm saying they're getting 1,000 DMs, but it's a fucking good sign that they've got something that is built around trust and ultimately good deliverables, right? And that's just how strong the brand is. But instead of doubling down on content, they're still grinding on sales calls, they're personally managing the team, they're micromanaging because they don't trust their own machine that they built. They are trapped in the weeds whilst there is an empire waiting for them just past the tree line. I hope you like that little visual quote analogy because I was quite proud of that one, right? They're afraid to let go. You then bring on sales reps that don't know the why behind your offer's transformation. They're just pitching features. They're little order taker schmucks that you poach from some Facebook group, okay? You notice how it is just a knock-on effect of this. Things aren't going well, and then we enter an element of desperation. So then we try something, we throw some shit at the wall and hope it sticks. And then that doesn't get the results that we're looking for. And then we end up back in square one, even more protective of our brand than we were before, right? Now, there's a book by Dr. David Hawkins called Letting Go. I would highly recommend it. Right at the beginning of the book, he lists countless things that people chase to try and feel better or feel more towards a level of fulfillment, right? Crystals, acupuncture, supplements, journaling, all these productivity hacks, everything, okay? It's like 2-3 pages of this stuff, right? All of this is chasing that feeling of alignment and purpose. And it's the same exact thing in business, right? Owners will try a new funnel, then they try a new closer, then they tweak their offer a little bit, then they go on Facebook groups, then they reach out to a person, and then trying all these million different things, but they never let go so that their team can actually rise. And letting go, you have to reframe yourself, is not about abandoning, it's about empowering, right? And this is exactly what I focus on when I take over a team, right? Anyone who has worked with me in the past knows that one of the first things that I do is I take over the entire team and I take them all through deep belief and identity rewiring techniques and trainings, right? Not just some role plays or some little sales games, right? Again, average run-of-the-mill sales manager, and then you start to question the results and why it's so slow, okay? I take them through real mindset work, emotional intelligence stuff, performance identity, and just ultimately alignment, right? Because when every person on a team feels like they are tapping into a higher version of themselves, the outputs are insane, okay? This could be you, right? Conversions increase, the culture becomes tight, energy lifts, the Slack channels, which were previously dead, start to pop off like crazy, okay? Now, I implement certain Slack channels which are about gratitude and various things like that. If you implement them around a culture that's just dead, no one's gonna fucking use them. Compared to a culture that's so tight, they're all in this warlike environment, they're all coming together, you create a Slack channel like that, everyone's popping off, everyone's saying good morning, everyone's giving gratitude, all of these things, okay? And it's a beautiful thing to see, right? And then here is the key. When we create these things, people start to lead themselves. And then your biggest issue that you were previously having of having to micromanage everything because nothing's happening is not even a concern anymore, because these people are becoming, and this is a line that I use when I take over teams, they're becoming the CEO of their own role, right? Now, that is how you create offers that dominate. A team that is spiritually and strategically aligned around one shared mission, and then a founder and a business owner that stops gripping the wheel like their life is depending on it, and they start steering from vision. Okay, so if you take nothing else from this video, start at least doing trainings that are going to ground people in the importance of the now and who they can become, and start empowering them to become that person, okay? Now, if you are a business owner in Purgatory, or you're just serious about actually scaling and reaching the potential, the true potential of your offer, you can apply to work with me, right? Like I said, it's going to be a 90-day focus sprint to have your offer quantum leap. I love to use that term, right? The link is in the description. It's nothing fancy. It's just a straight up form, right? If you need a VSL to be convinced, I don't even want a part of that in the first place, okay? This could be you. Total enlightenment when your offer is scaling beyond all belief and you can finally let go. Now, this was the first video. And like I said, a lot of this is around bottlenecks that I specifically see when I take over an offer. Okay, there will be a lot of tactical things that we'll go through. There'll be a lot of perspective-based things, and there'll just be a lot of learning lessons that I have gone through from running massive high-ticket offers, okay? Now, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found it valuable. Again, this is just the first part. We're gonna keep stacking on various different things, and ultimately, my goal here is to really take over the sales space. I'm doing a lot of sales training, so if you have closers that are really cucked and just lame, then you can feel free to send them my YouTube channel around the sales training stuff. And again, if you're a business owner, feel free to get in touch with me. I would love to talk about how we can scale your offer. Other than that, I will see you on the next video. Peace and love.